So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. In this episode, we will be talking about our Indian Express newspaper, and since it was weekend, we will be covering your Saturday and Sunday's news article as well. So most of the time you will see that in Saturday and Sunday's newspaper you will find very less articles because when we see Indian Express has aligned themselves with the UPSC examination. So when we are talking about today's session, we will be talking about 3-4 articles which are related or which are given here. Power threat to Great Indian Bustard. So we will talk about that. This particular topic has been in news for a long time, or you can say that it is a contemporary topic now. So Supreme Court recently has said something about it, so we will be talking about it again. Then first TriService Defense Center in India. So in Mumbai, or you can say we are going for a TriService Defense Center. When we are talking about TriService, you know that by the name itself it is clear that all the 3 services will be there. Okay, so we will talk about that and why it is needed. Then US allows UNSC resolution on Gaza truce, or you can say Gaza ceasefire. So USA has allowed it, or you can say that they basically abstained from voting, because of which UNSC could pass this particular resolution. So why there is a change in the policy by the US? Because US generally has gone in the favor of Israel. They have given unconditional support to Israel. So why is that they have changed their stance this time? Okay, so we will talk about that and what will be the consequences we will see. Then around the world we will take up few articles from that, and then we will see a practice question. Okay, so for this lectures PDF, or you can say this PPT, you can find it at our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description. Okay, so let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. So let's see the question again. Which of the following action can be taken, or can the governor take upon receiving a bill passed by the legislative assembly, okay, or state legislature? So basically they are saying that what options does governor has. Okay, so option A is sign and approve the bill, that is basically giving the assent. Okay, then return the bill for the reconsideration, that can happen. Then withhold the assent to the bill, he can withhold the assent, but as soon as possible he has to send it back for the reconsideration, so that can also be done. Okay, so all of the above options are there. Other than that, he has one more option, that is to reserve it for the president. Okay, so reserve for president, that bill can be reserved for the president. And now after this particular point, when he have reserved the bill and sent for the president's assent, after that president will be taking the action on that, then governor will not have any say. Okay, so basically president can send it for reconsideration, and after maybe with or without amendment, if the assembly send it back to the president, president has power to give the assent or to withhold the assent. Okay, so in case of governor, when we are talking about, when governor is returning a bill for reconsideration and assembly is coming up with a change or without a change, they are sending it back to the governor, governor has no other option but to give assent. Okay, so these are certain things which can be important for your prelims. This particular topic has been in news because of the Kerala issue, maybe Punjab issue, or Tamil Nadu issue, Telangana issue. So basically I would suggest that it was in news, so please go and read powers of governor with respect to bills. Okay, now coming to the today's article, answer is D, all of the above. Okay, now coming to the first article of the day, that is related to power threat to the bustards. Okay, so here we are talking about Great Indian Bustards. Okay, or in Hindi they are known as Godawan. Quite famous name in Rajasthan, Godawan. Okay, now I would like you to tell me that what kind of IUCN status they hold. Okay, you can reply in the comment box that what kind of IUCN status this particular bird hold, because that is important for your prelims. Okay, now why they are in news? Because recently it has been seen, or you can say in last few years, 3 to 4 years, it has been seen that these birds are basically encountering the issue of power cables. Okay, so there are these power cables, and while they are flying, okay, this is the heaviest bird, you can say, among the heavy bird, and they can fly. So while they are flying, they are basically getting encountered with these power cables, and they are dying because of that. Okay, so now what is the option? So Supreme Court earlier in 2021 has said that you can go for the burial of the power cable, or you can say underground power cables. Okay, so that option was not seemed to be feasible, and because of which again this topic has been in the discourse, and Supreme Court recently has said that there will be a 7-member panel, then they will decide about it. Okay, Now coming to the article. The Supreme Court last week said that it will review its April 2021 order to bury underground all the power lines in the habitat of Great Indian Bustard after the center found that practically it is impossible to implement over long distances, because going for such long distances, going for the underground cable, that is quite impractical as of now when we are talking about developing countries like India. Okay, the court created 7-member committee that will suggest steps to protect, conserve the Great Indian Bustard, identify critical areas where power lines have to go underground. Okay, so basically now they are saying that ultimately what can be the solution. So here Supreme Court has said that we will go for the undergrounding of the cables, but if whenever it is not possible, then you can go for the diverters. Okay, so diverters are some devices which are used to divert these birds from that particular route. Okay, so that diverters can be used. These diverters are not very efficient, but if you don't have any option, then you can go for the diverters and you can go for the regular maintenance of that. Okay, so this is about Great Indian Bustard. When we are talking about their population is nearly 150 individuals now. Okay, so that is very less. When we are talking about their habitat they can be available in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh even. Okay, so these are the areas where it is you can find a Great Indian Bustard, but mostly you will find maximum population in Rajasthan, but this area of Rajasthan and Gujarat is the area where their population is highest. Okay, other than that you can find them here as well, but the thing is their population is very scarce over there. Okay, then the issue of power cables is in this area of Rajasthan, or that is Jaisalmer, or you can say that Thar National Park area. Okay, and so in between Jaisalmer and Ramgarh there is the patch wherein there are various you can say windmills are there, and then power transmission lines are there, and there these incidents are basically happening. Okay, so here they have said that it is critically endangered. Okay, I have asked you about the IUCN status, it is given in the newspaper. That is why I say newspaper is very much important. They will cover your static, you will only you will just have to have an eye for it. Okay, you have to catch the details here. Okay, so critically endangered GIB is caught in a deadly maze of power lines and the crisscross its last refuge in the Kutch and the Thar desert of western India. Promise of amended solar and wind energy and the high tension network evacuating power are only getting denser in the new project in this area, because obviously this area of Rajasthan and Gujarat is the area where we are having a lot of wind energy potential. Okay, we are having solar energy potential over here. So basically for this renewable energy over here we are trying to go for more and more power projects, and because of which the transmission lines are also increasing, and ultimately they are posing a threat to the habitat of Great Indian Bustard. So basically you can say that there is a threat to their habitat. Okay, and because of which they are dying. Okay, other threats when we are talking about, so there are free ranging dogs, then widespread use of pesticides in the farmlands. So what is happening, basically there are pesticides in the farmlands, and there are some animals which are eating from that farmlands. Okay, and those particular things are basically being eaten by, or animals are eaten by these bustards. So basically what is happening, these residual of these pesticides, or you can say there is a term you must have heard that, biomagnification. If you have not heard about it, please go and read about it. UPSC has directly asked about these such terms like biomagnification, biofortification, bioaccumulation. So all these things you must have on your fingertips. So basically this biomagnification, when there is a food chain and one particular element of that food chain, or one particular individual in that particular food chain is relying on a particular, let's say, food source which is having some kind of contaminants. Okay, now that he is eating that, and afterwards the other individual, or you can say other, let's say there is this farmland, okay, from which there are some rodents. These rodents are basically eating something from this farmland, and these rodents are being eaten by the bustards, okay, or eagles, and then Great Indian Bustard. So basically some traces of these pesticides will go into rodents, and then it will go into bustards as well. Okay, so basically that is harming their actually health. So widespread use of pesticides in the farmlands poses a great risk to the birds. Loss of grasslands, that is basically you can say that it is a loss of their habitat, particularly nesting sites. Okay, erosion of the support from the local communities and other concerns. Okay, So these are certain things which because of which we have been talking about this particular thing. And then what government is doing, government is saying that we are going for the captive breeding as well, okay. But captive breeding is basically a way to supplement the population. Ultimate way should be to protect the habitat, okay. You cannot breed them inside a captive environment. Ultimately that bird needs to be free, okay. So that is why you need to have this idea, or you can say this particular project for conservation of their habitat, okay. The purpose of captive breeding is supplement to the wild population, possibly only when the sizable habitat is freed for the hostile infrastructure. Burying cables is the priority, since the bird diverters are not foolproof. Where undergrounding is not possible or not feasible, we should go for the best diverters and maintain them, okay. The government has enough Campa funds, okay. These compensation related funds are there, okay. So whenever you any company or any project is there and they are going for cutting down a forest, so they have to give some amount as a compensation, okay. So that will go to a Campa fund, and Campa fund is for you can say again reforestation, okay. So they will go for the reforestation. So we have Campa funds, so court has said that they can be used for this particular process, okay. Now not green energy versus wildlife. So when we are talking about development, our aim, or when we are talking about the renewable energy, our ultimate aim is to protect the environment. But if this green energy is going against the interest of the environment, that is wildlife is part of the ecosystem, and ultimately it is not against the wildlife versus the green energy. So when we are talking about this particular power cables, or you can say wind energy and solar energy, we cannot go for such energy ecosystems on the cost of the environmental ecosystem or bio ecosystem, okay. So basically this is what here is saying, that Godawan is the flagship species of the grassland and the state bird of the Rajasthan, okay. So that is important, it is state bird of Rajasthan. So they might ask you, because it was in news, okay. We cannot greenwash its potential loss in the name of the renewable power. The danger of infrastructure overdrive in desert, we need to demarcate how much land we can devote for the installation of harnessing the sun and the wind without damaging the desert ecology or ecosystem. So basically they are saying that we have to maintain a balance between the environment, ecology and the development, okay. So that is about this article. When we are talking about the areas where we can find this great Indian bustards, here you can say this is Rajasthan, then Gujarat, then Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, okay. So these are the areas, but when we are talking about the highest population, that is in Rajasthan here, okay. But ultimately this area of run of Kutch and the Thar desert, okay, these are the area where they have the highest population density, okay. So now moving further, next article, which is related to plan underway to make Mumbai first TriService common defense station, okay. So in the last section we have talked about great Indian bustards, so I would want you to keep a note of that, because there are chances they might ask you about this species, IUCN status, the population or the area of habitat, what is the prime threat, okay. Other than that also, if there is a chemical which is posing threat to these particular birds, so you know, keep a note on that. If you know about that particular chemical, you can reply in the comment box as well, okay. Then coming to this article, okay, hold on. Okay. So when we are talking about this particular article, or you can say this TriService Command Center or TriService Common Defense Station. So when we are talking about such things, India does not have more of such things, okay. But we have a joint command, or you can say joint command at Andaman and Nicobar. You must have heard about Port Blair, okay. So we have a joint command over there, but the thing is, again, that is not an integrated command, okay. So we are actually having this aim that we will go for the integrated commands. Integrated commands means that there will be presence of all the three arms of the defense or defense services, like your Air Force, Navy and Army, but all these will be under a single head, okay. So this particular person or this particular authority will decide the use of resources, what is the inventory they have, how that can be used. So that inventory will be pooled in a particular area, and then these three services will use it accordingly. Okay. So there will not be any separate, or they will not be working in silos, but they will be working all together in a one system, or you can say integrated system. So that is the idea. When we are talking about the threats which we are recently facing, when we are talking about the maritime threats, or when we are talking about the threats related to China, so in that case it is imperative for us to go for a integrated command center. Okay. Recently you must have heard that we have created a post of CDS. Okay. So that CDS post is important in this regard. Now coming to this particular thing which they are trying to set up in the Mumbai, that is basically your TriService common defense station. So basically this is a common defense station and not an integrated command. Okay. And what is the difference which we will see? We can say that it is in the way when we are trying to get to the integrated command center, this is one step in the way. Okay. So we are moving in that particular direction. So the armed forces are planning to turn Mumbai into a first tri-service common defense station in the country for Army, Navy and Indian Air Force, a step aimed at achieving jointness among the three services ahead of the creation of integrated theatre command. So basically when we are going for the integrated theatre command, so this can be seen as a positive step toward that journey. Okay. Now currently there is no common defense station in India, which I have told you. We only have a joint defense station, or you can say joint command, that is at Andaman and Nicobar, is a full-fledged command raised at TriService command in 2001. In 2001 we have actually gone for the creation of this command because of our maritime issues. Okay. So we will talk about that in the further slide. So keep that in mind. Now inter-service posting were bought in the last year. When we are talking about inter-service posting, like a army person might go and serve in the air force person can go and serve in the navy. So that is to basically create efficiency, or you can say create a cohesiveness in the services. Okay. A common defense station would mean that all facilities, the army, navy and IFF, Indian Air Force, will be combined, and including logistics, infrastructure, repair, maintenance as well as stores and supply. All these services will be combined and could be optimized and bought under a common lead service. Okay. Now they are talking about a common lead service. When we are going for an integrated command, there will be a single authority or single person as a head. Okay. So when we are talking about this stations, here what will happen, like there are three arms, that is army, then we have Air Force, then we have Navy. So when we are talking about these defense stations, or the common tri-service defense stations, so one of these arm will be heading that particular thing. Okay. When we are talking about Mumbai, so Navy will be heading it. Okay. Because Navy have a strong presence over there, so Navy will be heading that particular tri-service common service system. Okay. At present, wings of the three services are spread across Mumbai, its suburbs, and operate separately. At present, we have presence of these three services, but they are working in silos right now. Okay. With the creation of this particular center, they will work together under the command of Navy over there. Okay. So under the plan, logistics, infrastructure and the administration will be bought under a common chain. Okay. INS Hamla and INS Karanj, for example, are responsible for imparting logistics training to the naval personnel and housing a major armament depot respectively. The Army Ordnance Depot is a separate training area, and Air Force Regiment and Air Force units are planned to be combined with the common uses. So basically there are three things, like INS Hamla and INS Karanj is there, then we have Army's presence over there, that is separate, and then in Air Force units are also there. Okay. But now what we are doing is we are trying to combine all these things under the head of Navy. Okay. Now integrated so that there will be a single system of delivery of supplies such as fuel, ration, common items can be repaired at one place. So basically if you have some problem, or let's say there is a issue in a army's let's say truck. Okay. So for that maintenance you have to go for the army's maintenance center. Okay. If you have a issue, then that maintenance service that particular center is being used, but if you don't have it, then it is there stagnantly. Okay. But then if you are combining all these three into one, okay, so there will be only one center for the maintenance of the services, and whenever these three arms of the defense services, if they are facing any kind of problem, they can go there and do it. Okay, so ultimately what is happening, earlier there were three such repair points. Okay, now there will be one repair point, or at least at max two repair points, wherein all these services can avail it. Okay, so basically the thing is, they are trying to optimize the use of resources. They are trying to make sure that resources are being used efficiently. There is no you can say duplicacy or the repetition of these things. Okay, so that is basically idea behind it. For example, the service of INHS Ashwini, a naval hospital in Mumbai, are also being used by the other two services. So you can understand here, because Navy will be the head over here. So this hospital by Navy, that is INHS Ashwini, is there. Okay, so other two services can come and take services from that particular hospital. So that is the idea behind it. Similarly, that can be done for the infrastructure things, administration, other repair and maintenance, etc. as well. Okay, better optimization and the management of the resources, avoid duplication of the efforts, single channel for the funds and delivery, and avoid redundancy. Okay, now when we are talking about these tri-service common defense stations, we are planning it for three areas. One is Mumbai, second is your Sulur, third is Guwahati. Okay, so as I told you, in Mumbai, Navy will be heading it. Okay, then when we are talking about Sulur, Indian Air Force will be heading it. Then when we are talking about Guwahati, Indian Army will be heading it. Okay, so that is the idea as of now. Sulur, Mumbai and Guwahati. Okay, now moving further, here you can see, we can talk about the joint command, which is at your Andaman and Nicobar. Joint command in Andaman and Nicobar, it is the first tri-service theatre command of Indian Armed Forces, based at Port Blair in Andaman and Nicobar Island of India. It was created in 2001 to safeguard India's strategic interest in the Southeast Asia and Strait of Malacca. Okay, so this Strait of Malacca is quite important, because 2 or 3 days back also we have discussed that most of China's trade is going through this particular thing, or you can say most of the China's oil trade is going through this particular Strait of Malacca. China has this policy of string of pearls, and to counter that, we are going for the diamond necklace. For that, this Strait of Malacca is also important for us. Okay, so to make sure that China do not have any kind of monopoly in this route, or to check China's influence in that particular area. So basically, that is the idea behind, you can say, this having a joint command at Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, because it is in the vicinity of these particular areas when we are talking about Southeast Asia and the Strait of Malacca. We are doing it by increasing deployment of the military assets in the islands. Okay, now moving further, let's talk about the integrated theatre commands, because that is the ultimate aim for us. So an integrated theatre command envisages a unified command of three services under a single commander. Okay, for a geographical theatres. Okay, so in India, there is this committee which has actually recommended that in India there should be three commands. Okay, one can be Northern Command, second can be Western Command, and third can be your Southern Command. Okay, so this Northern Command will take care of the issues with Chinese border, Western Commands will take care of the issues with the Pakistan border, and this Southern Command will take care of the maritime issues. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So that is just a recommendation as of now, but we can say that that is logical. Okay, now the commander of such forces will be able to bear all resources at his disposal. So all the resources will be at his disposal, and he will decide when who will use what of them. Okay, so when we are talking about, let's say there are some 10 kind of helicopters which has been procured. Now Indian Army will want some, Indian Navy will want some, and the Air Force will want some. Okay, so there are 10 type of helicopters which we have to decide that which we can give it to Indian Air Force, which we can give to Army, which we can give to Navy. But if they are all under a single command, we can give it to one command, and that can be utilized by that command according to their need. Okay, so ultimately that is the idea behind it, so that resources can be pooled at that one particular point, and afterwards it can be used under that single command. Okay, so ultimately the commander of such forces will bear to all resources, at his disposal for from Army, Indian Air Force and Navy with seamless efficiency and avoid duplication of the resources, strengthening the cohesiveness in the defense establishment, okay, so that they can perform with a very good coordination whenever it is needed. Now, Shekatkar committee, there is this Shekatkar committee which has recommended that India should have at least 3 integrated commands. One is northern for the China border, western for the Pakistan border and southern for the maritime roles, okay. So that I have already discussed. So that is about the integrated theatre command, okay. So these are certain, you can say, benefits, that is, it will be efficient, it will avoid the duplication of the resources, it will increase the cohesiveness, or you can say cooperation between the services, okay. I hope this is clear. Now we can move further. Now next is PM Congress gave Kachativu to Sri Lanka, Kharge raises Bangla land pact. So this news is per se is not important for us because it is political in nature, okay. But the thing is, this particular island, that is Kachativu, that is important for us. Now Kachativu island is right now between this area wherein you can say in between India and Pakistan, India and Sri Lanka, I'm sorry. So this Kachativu is between India and Sri Lanka over here. In 1974, I guess, it was given to Sri Lanka, okay. So it was given as a gesture by Indira Gandhi government at that point of time. Whatever have been the situation at that point of time, we don't know, but it was given to Sri Lanka. This was a disputed island for a long time. When we are talking about you can say the medieval era, then it was under the rulers of Tamil Nadu at that point of time, okay. Afterwards, then Britishers came, then it was under the Britishers, and there was this issue related to it. So there was this committee which has suggested certain things, and that committee said that it should be given to the Sri Lanka. But Britishers actually at that point of time resisted to that, okay, and afterwards when they left India, they have given us this particular issue, okay. That was a legacy, you can say. So under the legacy we have got this issue, and in 1974 the then government has transferred this land to basically Sri Lanka, okay. Now we are talking about it because it has been, this particular debate has been reignited because of the political issues, or you can say political scenario which is going on in the country, or you can say maybe because of the elections time, okay. So decades old territorial and the fishing rights dispute around Kachativu island has been brought back into the limelight, okay. So there was this argument which has been made between the PM and leaders of Congress. The Kachativu island is, we will not get into those arguments because that is not necessary for us. I will talk about this Kachativu island, okay. That is important for you. They might ask you a simple question from here. Kachativu island is a 285-acre territory within Sri Lanka's maritime boundary, located 33 kilometers off the coast of Tamil Nadu, okay. So documents Annamalai received through this RTI application. There was this person who has filed an RTI application, and that document revealed that India's fluctuating stance on islands sovereignty ultimately led to it being ceded to Sri Lanka in 1974 when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, okay. So that one thing, that is in 1974 it was given to Sri Lanka by the then government, okay. Then it was given under a friendly gesture. So opposition is saying that similar stance has been done when we are talking about this exchange of enclaves which has been made between Bangladesh and India, wherein 111 enclaves has been transferred to Bangladesh and 55 has been given to India, okay. So that was another political issue, we will not go into this, but I would suggest that go and read about it, okay. This particular thing, other than that, you must have heard about Berubari Union case, okay. So these three things can be important from your Article 2.3's point of view, okay. How a territory can be ceded to another country, or how a border dispute can be managed, okay. What are the scenario when you can directly do it by the executive action, what are the scenario when you have to go for the constitutional amendments. All these things are your basics of Article 1, 2 and 3. So please go through that. Now here in 1974, a similar agreement based on the friendly gesture was initiated with another country, that is Sri Lanka, on Kachativu. The island is home to nearly 110 old St. Anthony's Church which attract thousands of devotees from India, okay. So this particular church, you can read 1 or 2 lines about this particular church. Originating from 14th century volcanic eruptions, Kachativu has been made under the control of King kingdom of Ramnath Raja. Okay, so who was basically based in Ramnathpuram, now in the Tamil Nadu. So basically at that point of time, okay, in the 14th century, it was under the Tamil Nadu. After that, British rules within the Madras presidency. When it was British rule, it was under the Madras presidency. In 1921, under British rule, India and Sri Lanka raised a claim over Kachativu to determine their fishing boundaries. Okay. A survey marked Kachativu within Sri Lankan boundaries, but British delegation from India challenged this and citing the ownership of the island by the Ramnath kingdom. So basically they said the island was owned by the Ramnath kingdom, that is based in Tamil Nadu. So that island is of that time British India. Okay. Afterwards, when they left India, this issue came to Indian government. Now in 1974, there was this agreement which has said that it will be given to Sri Lanka. Okay, it was ceded to Sri Lanka, allowing Indian fishermen access for the specific purposes. So with that particular access, or you can say territory given to Sri Lanka, there was this condition that some Indian fishermen will be given access on some particular purposes, but that will not explicitly granting any fishing rights. Okay. Now the capture of Tamil Nadu fishermen, seizures of their boats and by the Sri Lankan forces, that has been a routine you can say exercise over there. Most of the Tamil Nadu fishermen are basically, whenever they are going inside that waters, there are high chances that they can be arrested and taken custody into the Sri Lankan authorities. Okay. So that is why it has been in news. So please know that it is somewhere here, you can say, off Rameswaram, there is this island, that is Kachativu, that is between India and Sri Lanka. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Now we can move further. Why USA allowed UNSC resolution on Gaza ceasefire as a pass. Okay. So basically what happened recently, there was this UNSC resolution and in which USA abstained from the voting. So ultimately most of the time what happens that whenever there is a resolution, USA used to veto it. Okay. And because of which that resolution could not be passed. Okay. And that is why there was no ceasefire or no peace process which has been going on in Gaza as of now. But 2 weeks back, USA has come up with their own resolution and they have talked about the ceasefire. But at that point of time, China and Russia vetoed it. They have said that the language of that particular resolution was not correct. Afterwards, another resolution came and in that USA abstained from voting. USA abstained from voting, so they did not veto it. So at that point of time, this resolution was passed and what resolution says that it demanded an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages after the United States, which has repeatedly used its veto to shield its ally Israel, abstained from voting. So basically they are talking about immediate ceasefire and immediate and unconditional release of all the hostages which are there in both sided, or be it Hamas in the Israel side or Israelis in the Hamas side. Okay. So that has been passed. Now USA has historically gone to great lengths to protect Israel from the censure. Why did it abstain from the voting this time? So basically there are certain reasons. Okay. Most of the time you will see that Israel gets a bipartisan support, or both the parties in USA will support Israel's cause. Okay. But recently what is happening, that there is a divide in that. Okay. And now we have elections in USA in November, they are due. So basically because of which, since there is a divide, so government, or you can say the President Biden, they have to look inside their own domestic politics, and since there are elections, so they have to take certain decisions. Okay. So herein, because of first thing, because of the presidential elections in November, and since the support is the bipartisan support has been divided, so that is why they have to cater to the votes of the other side as well. Okay. So that is one thing. Second thing is, many Arab countries, some of which are good partners for USA, okay, so they are apprehensive, or you can say skeptical of the Israel's doing in the Gaza area. Okay. So to make sure that these partnerships are not being hindered, so that is another issue. Okay. So it is politically prudent, or you can say practical, for USA to go for the abstinence from the voting. Okay. So that is why they have abstained from the voting. Now what will happen? Has the USA allowed a UNSC resolution critical of Israel to pass earlier? Does this mark a shift in US policy? When we are talking about does this marks a shift in the US policy, we will say no. Okay. I will tell you why. But when we are talking about is it the first time, so no, it is not the first time. In 2016 also it happened when there was this President Obama's regime. At that point of time, Israel has gone for they basically gone for the settlement in the Palestinian areas. Okay, so Israeli settlements in the Palestinian areas were said to be illegal by the UNSC resolution. At that point of time also, USA abstained from the voting. They did not support Israel. Okay, so this is not the first instance, it has happened earlier as well. Okay, but the thing is, it is rare. When we are talking about Israel and USA, such things are quite rare. Okay, so is UNSC resolution binding, or how it can be enforced? So when we are talking about UNSC resolutions, there are two type of resolution. One is given under chapter 6 of the charter, one is given under chapter 7 of the charter. So one is binding, one is non-binding. When it is non-binding, you cannot do anything about it. It is mostly like a guideline, or you can say mostly like a advice or recommendation. Okay, but when it is binding, so at that point of time, there are certain things they can do. What they can do is they can compel the you can say, or the people who are in the issue. Okay, they can send even the forces over there. Okay, be it peacekeeping or be it military forces, they can send it over there. Okay, so here you can see, in any case, option of enforcing a UNSC resolutions are limited if a country in question refuse to accept it. Okay, so no doubt these options are limited if the country is actually refusing it. When we are talking about this particular issue of Paracel Islands and Philippines and China, at that point of time, the international court has given the judgment in the favor of Philippines, but China did not actually accept it. Okay, so we can this particular organization cannot do anything about it. If UNSC want to enforce its decision, at that point of time, they can go for the travel bans, they can go for the sanctions, and they can even send military troops over there. Okay, but in this particular case, none of this will happen because it is not binding. So it is merely a political message, or you can say an advisory. Okay, now how will the decision will impact USA domestically? So when we are talking about the elections, we are not sure of it. That will be seen after the results. So that is we will not go into it, because this is talking about the domestic politics of USA. We are not interested in that. Okay, does the abstinence from this particular voting change any fundamental stance, or you can say they change in the is there any change in the fundamental policy which is USA using with the Israel? Okay, so when we are talking about USA's position, so no, it is not a fundamental change, because it has happened in 2016. So basically idea is that there is certain things on which USA can disagree. When we are talking about this current regime in Israel, or you can say PM Netanyahu's leadership over there, so right now many people in USA are quite skeptical about it. As I have told you that there is a divide in the bipartisan support now. Okay, in such cases they have done it. So basically they are not saying that Israelis are not just that person, that is Netanyahu. Okay, so they are saying that this PM of Israel is not whole Israel. Okay, there are people in Israel who are also not in support of this violence. Okay, so basically they are saying that they are basically against this particular stance over there, or you can say the regime of PM Netanyahu, but there is no policy change, you can say. Okay, they will still support Israel, if the need be. When we are talking about this particular thing, as I told you, US assistance to Israel, which is not declined. They have been sending help, they have been sending the defense equipment, etc. Deep connection between the industries on both sides. Okay, so when we are talking about the industrial relations, when we are talking about the economic relations, when we are talking about the trade partnerships, defense partnerships, they have not been impacted at all. There was just one decision which has happened. So ultimately we can say there is no policy issue. It was just a stance which has been taken by USA recently. Okay, so what will be this resolution's impact? So obviously no impact, it is just a political message. Okay, when we are talking about Israel, the attack of October 7th 2023, that was a very deadly attack. Okay, when we are talking about Israel, it was after a long time, after Holocaust, you can say that so much of Israelis has died that day. So basically they are being quite, you can say being maximalistic in the approach. They are trying to go for a revenge kind of thing. They are saying that they will eliminate all the Hamas from that particular area. So this is what they are feeling. That is the kind of you can say there is a you can say impact on the Israeli psyche. Okay, so and now they are trying to build a deterrence again. Okay, because for a long time Israel has a good deterrence. No country in that particular area, or no organization or terrorist organization in that particular area could infiltrate into the Israel. Okay, so basically now they are trying to restore the deterrence by eliminating Hamas. Okay, so that is the one thing. Such goals can be difficult to achieve, as USA found out in the Afghanistan, because in Afghanistan USA has tried to do the same thing with Taliban, but that was difficult. Ultimately USA has to get out of that particular area. Israel itself experienced when it had military presence in southern Lebanon from 1982 to 2000, which has led to a strong health of the Hezbollah, or strengthened Hezbollah. So basically these are certain examples which has been given, that when you are going for the maximalistic approach like this, that we will eliminate Hamas from that particular area, it will not give much results, because when we are talking about the Afghanistan, USA failed in removing Taliban from that particular area. When we are talking about Israel in southern Lebanon, they have also failed. Ultimately they have strengthened the Hezbollah over there. Okay, so ultimately recently we have talked about that particular issue, as that Hezbollah is also now challenging Israel at that particular area of border of Lebanon and Israel. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Okay, USA has done it just because there are elections. There is just a change in the stance, but not in the policy. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can move further. Under your around the world, Japan, China experts meet to discuss Fukushima waste water discharge. Okay, so what is happening is Japan is basically discharging waste into the sea over there, and China is being apprehensive about it, and Japan has said that they have done it with the proper scientific methods. Okay, Beijing's concern over discharge of the treated radioactive wastewater from the wrecked Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant into the sea. The discharge have been opposed by the fishing groups and the neighboring countries, especially China, which banned all imports of the Japanese seafood. Okay, why they have banned the import of Japanese seafood? Because obviously since you are going for the discharge of this waste in the sea, and from there you are getting these fishes, so can be an issue of biomagnification, bioaccumulation. So that is why they have banned all the imports. Okay, Chinese city of Dalian, Japanese officials provided science-based explanation of how discharge have been carried out as planned. Okay, so here I have taken this particular thing to tell you about this wastewater discharge and its impact. Okay, so that is why I will tell you to go and check these terms, that is biomagnification, bioaccumulation. Okay, and other than that, from not from the pollution part, but we have this biofortification. This is related to do away with the undernutrition, problem of undernutrition. Okay, so that is biofortification. So these three things you can go and check on your own. Now we can move further to the next article, that is related to India and Ukraine talk war and peace summit in Switzerland on the table as well. So now these two foreign minister has met, and then they have said that India should be part of the peace process which is happening in the Switzerland. Okay, and India has said that we will be part of it, but we cannot commit to what level, because there are elections in India. Okay, so I will not go into all these things, because these are basic things which I have already tell you, that there was this first visit after a long time. That when this particular issue happened, this into 2022, when Russia attacked Ukraine, we did not basically condemned Russia at that point of time. Okay, and we continued to import oil from Russia. So at that point of time, Ukraine has said that basically they were against this particular decision of India going for the Russian oil import, because they are saying that that money is basically funding the war crimes over there. Okay, so at that point of time there was some strain in the relations, but recently it has been seen that, considering the position of India, even Ukraine is wanting that we should be part of that peace process, because they know that we can sway Russia's mind. Okay, so that is the thing. From criticizing India for buying Russian oil to Friday's meeting, Kyiv has travelled a distance in its outreach to Delhi. Zelensky met Modi for the first time in the May last year. Visit by the two ministers followed. In the January, foreign minister spoke, as did PM and Zelensky this month. the ball is in Delhi's court on the Swiss summit. Okay, this Swiss summit is basically the peace summit which we are talking about. Okay, so here are certain things which we are talking about. Since February 24, 2022, when the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine, India has sent 15 consignment of the humanitarian aid, which was including solar lamps, medicines, medical equipments, blankets, tents, etc. The Indian government has provided financial assistance for the reconstruction of the schools in the Kyiv. Funds also has been provided for the training of teachers from the 3 schools in the Kyiv to support the psychological health of Ukrainian children and youth. Yet India has sought to maintain a diplomatic balance between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so that is what we have been trying to make sure, that there is a balance between West and the Russia. Okay, while India has not explicitly condemned Russian invasion, it has called for the international probe into the Bucha massacre. So when there was this war, this Russian accession has happened to this city of Bucha. Over there was this massacre. There have been some videos which has went viral on the internet. Okay, so India has said that there should be an investigation regarding that, and expressed concern over the nuclear threats given by the Russian leaders recently. Okay, other than that, the UN Security Council, India has taken Nouns position and abstain from voting against Russia in several resolutions. Modi has told Russian presidents that this is not an era of war in G20 summit as well. Okay, so with all these things we have already discussed. Our immediate goal is to go back on the to get trade back on the earlier levels. Perspective trade on health, trade, health, science and tech, agriculture, cooperation, said. So basically they are saying that our aim is to go for the trade on the normal track, because after this war there has been some hindrance on the trade part. So the immediate goal is to focus on the trade. Okay, every barrel of Russian crude that India gets has good portion of Ukrainian blood in it. So basically that was the statement which was given at that point of time when India continued to buy oil from Russia. So Ukraine has said that every barrel of Russian crude that India gets has a good portion of Ukrainian blood in that. India has defended its decision by saying that it was trying to cushion the inflationary impact of the energy prices on the Indian economy and its citizens. Okay, so basically India has said that we are considering our own interest first. Okay, so that is about this article. Now we can move further with the next article. 9 pirates being brought to India to face legal action. So basically there is this issue of piracy in the Red Sea area. Okay, and when we are talking about the Red Sea area, Gulf of Aden or Gulf of Oman, all these areas are facing piracy. Okay, recently there was this incident over there wherein a ship was being rescued by our basically navy at that point. So basically this area has been in news. So I'm not going into details of all this because that will not be important for you. What is important is that there is this area. Okay, so this area basically is seeing piracy recently. Okay, other than that also the Houthis attack. Okay, and that is why this area of Red Sea, this is Red Sea, and the area of this Gulf of Aden, Gulf of Oman, etc. This area has been in news. Okay, now recent incident which has happened here in Socotra. Okay, so Socotra is basically island of Yemen. So that is why please remember this island and this area. Other than that, this area of Somalia has been in news. Okay, other than that, please remember this Horn of Africa region. Here you can see this is Gulf of Aden, this is Arabian Sea, or you can say Gulf of Oman, and then this area of Red Sea, this has been in the news for a long time. This islands of Socotra I have discussed, that is part of Yemen, and Somalia is also being affected by the piracy. Okay, so please remember these things in for your maps. Other than that also please remember the islands of the Indian Ocean region. Okay, be it Seychelles, be it Mozambique, be it Reunion Islands, all these islands, please remember that. Okay, now coming to the next part, around the world, cyber slavery. So basically recently there were few people who has been there in Cambodia, trapped in Cambodia. These people were used by the rackets to target the people back at home. Okay, so there are certain Indians who has been stuck in Cambodia, and they were used by these rackets to target the people at home, and somehow they are extorting some money out of them. Okay, so that was this particular thing, that is cyber, that was a cyber crime. So because of which there is this new term which has come into the domain, that is cyber slavery. Okay, so for that I would want you to remember that what is cyber slavery, wherein certain people has been used to extort money from their relatives. Okay, so that has happened in Cambodia, and Cambodia has been in news recently. So that is why I would suggest that please note this particular thing. Okay, and there are certain Hindu temples, or you can say temples, Buddhist temples, which are in Cambodia. Okay, and which has been receiving Indian aid for the certain things. So please remember these temples as for that can be important from your art and culture point of view. Okay, now this term please remember, that is cyber slavery. Around 130 complaints of Indians trapped in Cambodia have been received by the Indian embassy. Okay, now they were forced to carry out cyber frauds, and they have been rescued by our forces. Over 5,000 Indians are allegedly being held against their will in Cambodia and are being forced to carry out cyber frauds on people back home. Okay, so nearly 500 crore has been extorted. Okay, so that is about your cyber slavery. These terms are important, so that is why I have taken these articles. Other than that, news is not much important. Then there is a fact from the news. You must have heard about this heart attack. So similarly, we have brain attack. There are certain symptoms you can remember, that is sudden confusion, trouble in speaking or understanding speech, dizziness, loss of balance, numbness in face, arms, legs, one side of the body, vision problem, sudden severe headaches. Okay, these are certain you can say symptoms of brain strokes. Okay, you can read in detail about that, but that would suffice, I guess. Okay, now for your own read, there is this article that is related to explain section in culture. Here you can say message of Good Friday, possible origin of the name and date it is observed. Okay, so if you are interested in that particular thing, okay, so you can go and read about this article. Okay, other article that is not per se an article, that is an editorial, basically that was advertisement, because recently Philippines and India has been in news. Philippines and India has actually celebrated their 75th year of diplomatic ties, so that is why it is important. Recently you must have heard about Philippines and China issue, and in that particular issue Indian foreign minister has even also supported Philippines claim and said that every country has right to protect its sovereignty. Okay, regarding that there is this article. You can go and read this article, or you can keep this article for your mains preparation, because for Philippines or the countries of South Asia we don't have much content about them, so such editorial or such article can be helpful. Okay, so similarly there is this BrahMos deal is been beginning of the further defense pact between India and Philippines. So if they ask you in the prelims, so you can tell India and Philippines are working on this BrahMos deal as well. Now to confuse, they might give you as an option India and Russia as well, because ultimately when we are talking about the manufacturing of BrahMos, India and Russia was the partner. Okay, so please keep a note of that. Now last part of the day, that is your practice question. Which Indian state is known to have largest population of great Indian bustards? Options are Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So you can attempt this question, answer in the comment box. With that I would like to take your leave. If you are not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel and do watch our new series, that is Target UPSC Prelims 2024, that can be asset in boosting your prelims preparation. With that, thank you. Have a good day.